there, welcome to Always Off Brand. We take retail, e-tail, I don't know, tech, the whole entire kit and caboodle, and we try to simplify it, throw a whole big bag of fun in there. I'm one of your hosts, Scotty-O. Joining me today after vacation, the great, the one, the only Hayley Brucker in the news.
Good morning. I wish Summer could be here, but Summer oh man, Scott, what's going on in the Jubileer house? I feel like, bless her heart, it's always something, and she's doing her best, but everyone's sick over there.
I don't want to break HIPAA laws, but I'm telling you, she is officially the Sickerman. Summer Sickerman is her new name because she's got one kid sick, the other one, the husband is down because of a post-knee surgery. I mean, you know, we don't talk medical or weather here, although I did have to look it up. It's been raining where I live for 2 weeks straight.
Ew.
It's wow. It's a rough patch. I'll just say that. But your vacation is much more interesting, and our guest is much more interesting here today. Thrilled. Reeled in a big one, Hayley. One.
So should we just leap into it, or can we talk for a minute, Scott? I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks.
Oh my God, let's talk for a couple seconds. Jesus, I haven't talked to you in years.
Okay, can we talk about how I somewhat embarrassed myself during a client call yesterday?
Sure. Sure.
So I have this doc, right? And this computer doc that I have, it's a whole saga. I have a love-hate relationship with docs. Long story short,
it's not a dock on your boat. I just want to clarify that.
But I did sing Dock of the Bay just now when we were prefacing this call, or pre.
Dock of the Bay.
And you didn't join me, and I felt a little sad.
I'm engineer Scotty. You got to understand, I got 7 things going on right before. Of course, I had to restart the computer because the camera wasn't on. Blah blah blah. You know, I got a lot going on, and
I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to cut you off because I'm just feeling spicy today.
Oh, great.
Spicy. Well, I'm in the middle of this call. I'm presenting my screen and it just goes black. And this problem has been going on for a couple weeks now. Like, one of my screens will go black, but the bar on the bottom is still there. Like, you can still see the menu bar or whatever. So I come over to the other screen. I'm like fumbling around. This client is somewhat hard to please. I've been doing just a 1-month quick project for them on some audits, etc. So they've got a lot going on. There's so many questions. I'm like in the weeds talking about the data, and my freaking screen officially dies.
Oh my gosh.
And they didn't have a sense of humor about it. So here I am trying to be all goofy, like, oh, nothing like being on the spot and having technical issues. You know, I'm like trying to laugh it off. And they didn't think it was funny. They asked me to end the call.
Are you serious right now?
And call them back and reschedule when I could present correctly.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, whoa, hold the phone. And so obviously I got super embarrassed. I got super upset. So I'm like fumbling around. I'm like, Matt Brad Brucker, I need a doc.
Yeah, you need technical support stat.
He was like, go find theirs. There's one in my office in the basement. I'm like, cool. So this morning, I hooked up my new doc. It's not new. It's just a different one.
Is this
it's not new. It's just a different one, but it's working so far. But I played my own engineer this morning, like plugging all my things in. Everything works. I'm so proud of myself, but also so embarrassed that I didn't fix it 2 weeks ago.
Well, you know,
when I started having issues. But like, what do we always say? Be kind to your agencies, right? Like, I'm not technically an agency. I'm a consultant, but still, it's not my fault my computer was failing.
No, this happens. It's humans. This is the beauty of technology and the fragility of it. Fragile. Yes, happens. It's constant. It's like, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. You try to pull something up. A lot of times the APIs break when we're doing dashboard stuff.
Oh yeah.
It just is what it is. But a guy who doesn't break, Hayley.
Oh man.
We
got a good one.
See what I did there?
He doesn't break at all.
See what I did there?
No glitches.
I have been a fanboy. One more time. Add him to the list of fanboy here. Let's start the music and let's bring him to the YouTube stage. Yes, we are on the YouTube at Always Off Brand. Ladies and gentlemen, a resume that is longer than the state of Montana. Let me tell you what. He was the CEO of great Moosejaw for many, many years. Climbed the ladder there. Then it was sold to Walmart. Then, 2017. Then 23, they're like, yeah, no, we don't want that. Let's go to Dick's Sporting Goods. And then I don't really know. It's public lands. It's somewhere. It's a CEO, but more importantly, he is not only purveyor of Outsize Consulting, but he is also the host and the consigliere, which I had to look up, of the rock fight. Ladies and gentlemen, Outdoor Unfiltered's own Eoin Comerford.
Nice work, Scotty. Thank you. That was quite the.
Yeah, you're welcome. I actually have a whole bit on your trailer of your new show, which I am grateful for.
Want to know what's really going on in the outdoor industry? Move past the PR speak and platitudes. Get the why behind the headlines and the unvarnished truth about the outdoor industry's biggest drivers.
Because I've been a fan of the rock fight and your partner in crime there. Oh my God, Colin?
Colin True.
Colin True. I had True and then the Colin, and I couldn't put it together. Which we both know, the great Jay Getzel. I'm name dropping there, but I've been listening to you and reading you, and as usual, I did a cold call on LinkedIn. I'm like, your tariff work was fantastic, because as somebody who worked in manufacturers, I'm just screaming to everybody this.
Yeah. Right. Becoming a tariff expert was not on my bingo card for 2025, but here we are.
So now you're an angel investor here. You highlight innovative new brands in the outdoor industry. Hayley and I come from the outdoor industry, so this is near and dear to our hearts. Summer, who's not here, has been to an outdoor retailer show. It was one of the later ones, so it wasn't back in the heyday. But
yeah,
she got a feeling.
I went too.
That's right. Hayley, we went and did a show there at the in Salt Lake City when it finally went back to Salt Lake City.
That was like the last one they did in Salt Lake.
Yeah. But
it's in Minnesota this year. So in Minneapolis. Yeah.
Okay,
it's going to be interesting. We'll see. It's a brave new world. We'll see how that goes.
We're gonna get to the whole trade show. You guys do such a great job, but Outdoor Unfiltered. Let's talk about that and what you're doing now. And what people need to pay attention to. I don't care if you're in the outdoor specialty industry, and we're going to define that, or not. You got to follow this cat. You got to read him. You got to listen to him, because it's so good and so smart.
Thank you. Yeah, Outdoor Unfiltered, really, it's, I don't know, maybe it's unique to the outdoor industry, maybe it isn't, but historically it's been very kumbaya, and everybody just says nice things, and nobody really digs in and what is really going on. And that is what Outdoor Unfiltered is about. Is like, okay, not just the PR spin, we just did this thing over here or this thing over here. It's no, what's actually happening from an insider perspective, and then why does it matter? And so it's been fun digging in and looking at all these different topics, everything from what's happening at REI. The pod that's going to drop that I'm working on today is about the bankruptcy of Eddie Bauer. Have we reached peak athleisure? Those sorts of questions.
God, Eddie Bauer, they're right down the road from me. I called on them for years, actually, with Hayley's husband, Matt Brucker. Him and I walked in that door many a day selling stuff to them. Know a ton of people there. That's a heartbreaker from the PNW as
but it's not their first bankruptcy.
It's not even their second bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Got it, Hayley. That's 2 bells for you today.
So what's different now?
Well, unfortunately, they've gone the route of the Authentic Brands Group, which is probably the most ironically named company in the history of companies. But which it's basic, they're like a vampire, right? They take brands and they just suck the last piece of juice out of them and then discard, the shrunken carcass. And that's what's happened here, right? I mean, they got Eddie Bauer a number of years ago. They larded up with plenty of debt. They sucked all their licensing fees off of it and basically broke the business model. And now it's just a shell of itself. So
that's as they say on my side of the street, that's a shonda. That is a real shame right there. Really quickly going macro again, because a lot of our peeps out there are like tech, Amazon nerds, brand, and the e-com D2C. So as you define the outdoor industry, I say, oh, I grew up in the outdoor industry. That can mean a lot of different things. Can you explain in a summary?
So really the outdoor industry, from my perspective, is more the premium brands, specialty outdoor. So this would be the North Faces, Patagonias, Arc'teryxes of the world, right? So, but you're right, it absolutely does go much bigger. In fact, they just released this number that the outdoor recreation economy is a $1.3 trillion economy, right? And never has there, I mean, such a bullshit number. I mean, it includes every possible thing that happens outside, and that makes it happen outside. Concerts, amusement parks, gardening. I mean, it's like, come on, people. No, the real outdoor industry, which is really the retail and the selling of those sorts of brands and those sorts of goods. This is human powered outdoor. So this is camp, hike, climb, bike, kayak, that kind of stuff. So not the hunt fish crowd. But that business, including Amazon sales and D2C sales, is probably about $50 billion.
Yeah. And I can, even when I was in it, and I kind of started to fade out around 2019, 18, 19, what have you, they always had, SGB always had these big numbers. And that's, again, like you guys and Colin talked about, like we'd go to sales meetings and go to pitch decks and just be like, oh, look at it. We just get a tiny bit of the piece of the pie. It was ridiculous.
Oh yeah. That's the classic pitch. All we need is 1% of this market and we're a, $130 million business. Oh, just stop.
Okay, so let's talk about now. Lucky and fortunate to be here in Seattle, Washington. REI, called on REI. Matt Bradbrucker, as we've alluded to, worked there for many years. Got a lot of his start in the industry there. Where they have been the giant on the street as far as outdoor specialty since I can remember.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and for a lot of brands, they're absolutely their number one customer. And by a long shot. I mean, for some specialty brands, it's probably 50% of their businesses through REI. So they hold a huge amount of power within the industry.
But where's the competition? Because even back in the day, they had REI Outlet, REI Garage, and then all of a sudden the internet came alive and they got their lunch eaten by Steep and Cheap, by all these other things. They didn't understand the internet early on. Right. At the same time, Owen, like, why hasn't anybody competed with REI?
They were so endemic to the outdoor industry because of the co-op model, and because of the national breadth that they had. Nobody had really stepped up to that piece of the industry, and yes, the backcountry came along, Moosejaw came along, and were of a size, but still nowhere near their scale. They do about 3.6 billion, right? They have 190 stores across the country, and obviously Dick's made a run with public lands, which has really has sort of faded back to, it's like, I think it's 3 stores now. So they're all about their house of sport concept, and that's where they're putting their dollars, which has a decent sized outdoor section. But no, the other piece of it is the fact that the rest of the industry is very fragmented across specialty retail. So these are smaller retailers that are typically 4,000 to 5,000 square feet. But there are 1,100 of them across the country. And so what you had was this very fragmented competitive base. Like Moosejaw, I think we ended up with 14 doors, at our peak. And that would put us in the top 10 for the number of doors, right, in the industry, with REI at the top. And then you've got Shields, who plays a role, and then beyond that, you've got a bunch of sort of super regionals. Gearhead Outfitters, for example, I think has like 28 doors, but it really goes down significantly from there.
So, and that in the PNW, right? Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, we still have actually some great specialty, but they're more or less urban places now, in urban metropolitan areas. We have some great specialty retail still, but boy, it is decreased massively, which is a shame. And also, and kind of getting into this, the REI, let's stay on REI, only because you guys just put out a great article on LinkedIn and everywhere else. And then you guys did a great Outdoor Unfiltered episode on the latest story of REI, benefits, their union troubles. Talk about that for a second.
I mean, REI is having a bit of a tough time right now. They I think this year is going to be their fourth straight year of being unprofitable, and not just a little unprofitable. Like we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars unprofitable, which is bad enough for I guess a regular company, but in the co-op structure, it's really quite tricky or trickier. And they have funded all of these losses primarily by selling real estate. So like they had built this wonderful campus in Seattle. It was almost ready to be opened right before COVID hit. COVID hit, they needed cash, so they sold it to then Facebook for like 360 million or something. Then turn around to last year, they did a lease buyback on all of their DCs for another like 240 million ish or so. So basically, they've raised enough cash to offset the losses, but they're kind of out of they're out of real estate at this point, right? And so they really need to get back to profitability, and they're struggling. And you look at it, and there's a couple of reasons why they're not profitable. One is their margins have taken a big hit. Right. Part of that is the treatment of their loyalty program. Well, they call it a member dividend, but it's basically a loyalty program. And the other piece is just a lot more discounting as they move through product that they vastly overbought. But the big issue is payroll. Their payroll is about 25% of revenue. Which
you called that out. You called that out, and I was like, "Holy sheboygan, Batman! That is
right.
That's
crazy.
So
high. So right, because most I was comparing them to Dick's, and Dick's doesn't publish this, but just sort of inferring from their overall SG&A numbers, it's about, I think, 15%. Now, you would argue you notice the difference when you walk into a Dick's store versus an REI in terms of the level of service that you get, not just the number of people on the floor, but the level of expertise that you're getting from a green vest in an REI versus a whatever they call the
green T-shirt in Dick's.
The green T-shirt there. The green T-shirt. Yes, that's very apropos. So it is part of their business model, but it is super expensive and only getting more expensive. And that was, part of what I was digging into was just their overall P&L and how that number, $880 million in 2024, hasn't just grown with their overall growth, but it's grown as a percent of revenue. It was like 20% or so historically. So to go from 20% to 25%, it's just unsustainable as a company.
I just, again, this is from the inside. I remember when they hit $1 billion, I was still selling them stuff when I think they hit $1 billion, but you just sit there. And again, I know the bias and we're inside the little bubble, but we're just screaming to them, like, what are you doing? Like, and then from the inside in Seattle, their first store, and we had the flagship store and all this other stuff. I'd travel around the country, and they're incredible staff. All the old schoolers were like, it's not getting better. It's actually, it's kind of declining as far as number of people, the expertise, all the stuff, the green vest, who they do all the stuff. I'm like, it's kind of getting shittier actually, but it varies from store and from place. The other big thing is when I'm sitting here on the outside reading about their losses, and then at the same time, the press release says, yeah, we're going to open 100 doors. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well,
why would you add that CapEx? Why would you add that? What are you doing?
I think the feeling is that, hey, if part of the problem is they have a corporate staff that is built for a $10 billion retailer. I think is part of the issue, right? So for example, they closed their experiences group last year, and what they said was it was never profitable. Even in the best years, it was never profitable. And as part of that, they laid off 400 people. And that to me was like, oh, gee. You had 400 people running your experiences group. Of course, it wasn't profitable. Why the did you have 400 people doing this, right? Because actually, most of the work, it would be one thing if it was 400 people and that included all the folks that were in the field running these experiences. And no, those were all contractors,
right?
Those were local guides and local groups that were doing the actual work. The 400 people were just the ones kind of coordinating it. It's like, what are we doing, people? How many people? And I don't mean to make light of people getting laid off. I mean that sucks, and I'm sure those people were doing a great job. But
Yeah.
it does
Oh,
talk to a corporate culture that is just way too top heavy.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's kind of moving around. I really put a lot of effort into my topic starters here for you, Owen, because again, you're a big fish. But my point here is that then they became a running store. I mean,
Well, they tried.
I go into REI again. I'm biased because of my point of reference for so many years, but I'm like, who the hell, where am I? And what are we doing? Do you even know who you are? Do you need a therapist? I mean, let's talk.
Well, I think the thought behind that, and Owen, correct me if I'm wrong here, was they were trying to appeal to a younger crowd, because the average shopper right now, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, is, I would say, 45 to 65, or maybe even 45 to 99. Let's just go there.
Their average shopper is about 60 years old. Yeah.
Great. So there you go. Well, all these thru hikers, we're talking about specialty retailers. The thru hikers are the younger crowd. They're really going viral now. They're putting it on social medias. They're wearing trail running shoes. They're not wearing the big, bulky Oboz boots anymore. They're not, wearing these big, heavy REI specialty style boots. And so I think that was kind of the initial thought process of, hey, let's try to get in with the cool crowd, because I think that was a big miss on their part overall with the entire assortment of the store.
Oh, Hayley, sorry.
They just outdated themselves with the assortments, and
Listen, 2005, Owen, I have to say this. I swear to God, 2000, my mother-in-law who got me in the industry had been selling them since the early 90s, late 80s, whatever. Their demographic in 2000, 2005 was 45 to dead. That was they have been struggling with this forever.
Yeah. And they keep trying, but they're just not, and they were late to adapt to the e-com world. We just talked about that. So
sure.
I don't want to bash REI. That's not my intention here.
No, and
I just think it's pretty,
No, I think, Hayley, I think your analysis on the running thing is spot on. They were trying to go where the sales are. I mean, running is doing well, and it's one of the few areas in the outdoor industry that is doing well, right? So I'm not going to fault them on that. I think becoming too running, like going after road running as opposed to trail running, I think that was maybe a bit of a miss, and potentially giving up on the core. But just the overall merchandising and merchandise just needs work. They need more excitement, more pizzazz, more interest to draw people in. Black rain shells, and khaki hiking pants. It's just not going to excite anybody.
I love, again.
And, what happened to them carrying the challenger brands or the new to market brands, the disruptors in the category? I feel like they've kind of sold out to these bigger established brands, category leaders that are very predictable.
Mm-hmm. They are, and it's a challenge within the industry that I think a lot of brands tend to get excited about nerdy innovation. Like here we've got this new fabric technology that it gives you 0.2% more breathability, and weighs 0.5% less per whatever. And the consumer's like, I don't give a fuck. I mean, I just want something that looks good, right?
Yeah.
That performs well, that is comfortable, right? And that so. But other brands are providing that, like the Vioris of the world and other places, and now you're actually seeing Viori in REI, by the way, and in a lot of specialty outdoor stores. But Viori isn't an outdoor brand, but it is a brand that now is being sold in those stores because that's what that customer wants, and they're not getting it from those old school outdoor brands. If you look at their store productivity in terms of dollars per square feet, it is world class.
Yes.
They by my numbers, it was like $600 a square foot. So they're doing something right, or they were doing something right. It was everything else around it that really wasn't working as well.
I guess my point here from a business case is we look at retail overall. They were the unicorn. They were the giant. They were a category leader by a billion miles.
Yeah.
And they got complete. Whatever happened, They have every right to be, and they are. You're right. Despite of all these things that I complain about, they're a $3 billion retailer, and they do a lot of things absolutely brilliantly, and I root for them. But it's just it's an interesting thing of like they never really got truly overtaken by a competitor. They never got truly disrupted. And even though Public Lands and Dick's Sporting Goods had a lot of money behind that and everything else, my old friend Todd Spoleto running it,
Yeah.
it never really damaged the whole. You know what I mean? They didn't have to change direction. And I think that's a fascinating, from the overall retail landscape, that is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of what you're saying though is the difference between a publicly traded company and a co-op. And quite frankly, there would have been a lot more, moves in the executive suite over the years if this were a publicly traded company.
See, that's why we have the smarter people on. That's why because you're 100% right.
All right. And he's so smart. We really want to get into some other topics here. Scott, let's take a quick break.
Yes.
I think we're at that point.
We are.
And when we come back, let's talk about trade shows. Let's talk about the trajectory of the outdoor industry. Is OR going to come back? Let's talk about it when we get back after this.
Hi, I'm Sarah Rossoff, founder of Decision Forward Advisory, and you're listening to Always Off Brand.
All right, Owen, I'll stop my REI stuff and the whole thing. But so trade shows again. Trade shows. I'll just, if anybody cares. From 1995 to 2000. Actually, the last one in 2020. I'll never forget that. It was in Denver, I believe. I've been to twice a year. I've been to every single show my whole life.
Okay. Every single outdoor retailer?
Every single outdoor retailer.
Your whole life? Man,
from 1995 until 2020, I never missed.
Okay.
So this is deep. And I was on actually a lot of councils. I was deep into the outdoor industry, the leadership there. I was on rep councils. I was on a bunch of stuff. So it's very near and dear to my heart. And so I am interested in where we are as far as the outdoor industry and the trade shows.
We're at a funny spot because outdoor retailers had its challenges. It grew to a point where it almost got too big, and brands were just investing too much money, and it became a bit of an arms race. We kind of like we needed a salary cap almost like we do in baseball to protect brands from themselves.
Yes.
Right. So like the three-story booth is kind of like that $30 million they're spending on some shitty outfielder.
That was just so, you're right. Don't go to the SHOT Show because they have the same problem.
Okay. Well, so the problem was because they couldn't stop themselves. The brands then said to outdoor retailer, "Well, hey, this isn't working for us financially, so we're going to cut back, and we're not really writing orders at this show, and so if we're not really writing orders, why are we spending $1 million for this trade show?" And so outdoor retail said, "Oh, well, hold on, we'll move the trade show into the time when you are placing your orders, right?" And so they moved it all over the place, and everybody got confused about what the hell is this show about, what's it for, and the brands left anyway, right? Because they were just looking for an excuse, right? And so so at the end of the day, kind of everybody got pissed off. There were no brands, and it became a challenge. So the most recent one in Salt Lake City. So then it moved from Salt Lake City to Denver to back to Salt Lake City for various reasons that were supposedly all about bears' ears and protecting public lands, but were really all about the money. Okay,
show me the money. God
show
damn
me the money.
And in the middle of that, Emerald bought the show, which was also part of a confluence of all this mishmash. Go ahead.
Exactly. And so Emerald, huge trade show company, right? And so they took a very, we'll call it business-like approach to that. And the outdoor industry, didn't like that, I guess is what I would say charitably. So so here we are. And a lot of the bigger brands are not showing up, but we have a new outdoor retailer coming. They're moving to Minneapolis for August. And really the focus is on just discoverability, like those challenger brands that Hayley was talking about, getting those together in one place where retailers can come and see what's maybe new and exciting and not in your local REI, and add a little bit more pizzazz to some of these retailers. So I think it's going to be interesting. Jury is still out as to how it'll all come together, but they're definitely giving it a big push. I mean, they've pulled together this leadership village of folks from around the industry to try and direct the show to be more relevant. They're bringing in a bunch of content creators, which I think is interesting, because like the reasons to have a trade show, one is just to get together, right, and have a critical mass of retailers and buyers and brands.
I love it.
The second thing is the buying piece, but the third thing is the PR piece. So if I'm there and I'm showing my product, maybe I don't get to see a buyer or sell the product, but if I get in front of an influencer or in a critical blog post or YouTube piece, maybe that's just as valuable from my D2C business.
Well, and I love to see them becoming relevant in the online space. I think that's one thing that they were lacking for so many years. They're kind of in this old school mindset of, hey, we're still going to just do it the traditional brick and mortar way. We've done it this year for decades, or we've done it this way for decades, and we're just going to keep doing it. But You're right. They have to kind of evolve and grow and challenge themselves and really disrupt what's going on. So, and Scott and I are in the Amazon space mostly.
Okay.
And we see these cheap knockoff brands. We see these imitators who are trying to come in, and it's almost like they're capturing more of the market share or more of the shelf online because these other guys who are very established. Now, that's excluding big brands like Patagonia, North Face. We know they own a lot of online space. Their shelf is very well taken care of. They're category leaders there. And so I want to see these challenger brands invest in some online, assets. I just think it's so important to capture the customer online and to hear that they're bringing in influencers and trying to drum up the excitement. Like, that's how you grow a brand today.
Right. It's crazy how many brands that I work with, they want to be on Meta, for example, right? They want to show their wares, but they can't get around the fact that you can't have an ad on Meta and because they want to have this beautifully crafted brand moment, right, as an ad on Meta. And it's like, no, that doesn't work like that. The what you're putting out there needs to be endemic to that platform. It has to actually work in that space. I mean, we're all users of social media. If you are scrolling and you come across something that's an ad, that right away you see, oh, it's an ad, you're right by that. I mean, like, I don't want I'm not here for to be sold to.
Right.
If you have something that has some UGC, has an interesting hook, talks to me about where I am, right, is authentic, right, is a real user of what this product is. Now maybe you've got me. You've got my attention, and now maybe I'll think about your brand, and maybe I don't buy right then, but maybe the next time I'm looking for wherever that product is, I might buy. But yeah, too many brands, even in the challenger brand level, it's even worse at the big brand level. But even at the challenger level, just getting them to consider something like a UGC campaign or an influencer campaign, they feel is like, well, that's not my brand,
or they can't afford it. I think that's a huge challenge for a lot of these entry brands. It's expensive to do that a lot of times.
It can be, but what's more expensive is pouring a shit ton of money at Meta with creative that's never going to work.
Oh, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, again, quick fire, that's what we do, right? We do paid social, we do paid search for small, medium-sized brands. That's what we do.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that's all we do. We're tiny, and that's what we do, a full digital thing. And yes, you just have to be smart. More doesn't mean more. Creative drives targeting. Meta's tougher to get targeting. You just have to be savvy as shit, because every penny counts.
Right. Every penny counts. And you can have the best ad in the world, but if your sign-up form is for shit, if your flows are crappy,
exactly.
I mean, you've got the whole stack has to work. 100%. Otherwise, you're just burning cash.
And you got to do the basics, and you got to get the basics going.
Exactly.
Okay, lastly, again, everyone's probably like, I could care less about this, but this is really a show for me. So then I hear and read when you guys and Colin and producer Dave go down to the TRE, the running event, which has been a really good show. And running, by the way, if you don't know, because I'm deep into that as well from an event standpoint, it has had its ups and downs over the last 10 years. Okay. I'm happy to see it's coming back. Then all of a sudden they have the switchback, and I read and hear from you guys, oh my God, Patagonia is back. All the big boys are back at this switchback show.
The boys
what the hell?
In town. The boys
yeah.
In town.
Exactly. The boys
yeah,
are back in town.
Yeah. So there's a lot of sort of backroom stuff. Well, let me just say this. Switchback really got those brands because they hooked up with OIA, right? The Outdoor Industry Association.
Okay.
Which used to be the partner of OR.
Card carrying member for 20 years.
Right. And so that partnership, OIA and Switchback, really ended up driving that show and getting all the brands there. And the first show was last summer, and it was a great show. There were, again, all those brands that really hadn't been to OR in a long time were there. Now, the challenge was there weren't as many retailers there, but it was still great to get everybody back together. So you had half of the equation. Now, they have the next sort of Switchback 2, I guess you would say, is in New Orleans or Nolans this June, and it'll be interesting to see if I think all the brands are still there. The question is, are the retailers going to show up? I'm hearing yes, but we'll have to wait and see.
But where do you go? Do you go to Minneapolis in the middle of August, or you go to the show, which I don't remember the time? Isn't it in the fall, or I can't remember when? Or they have two shows, TRE and Switchback now.
TRE or the running event so that is in San Antonio now in I think it's early December.
Okay.
And that's a great show. I went there for the first time, and it's so interesting because that show was the brands. It was like a love letter to the retailer.
Yeah.
Right. And the brands really understood that part of the reason why they were there was to support the whole industry, and it wasn't just about trying to write orders or whatever else. It was we're coming together as an industry. We're going to pay for this event. They have this big awards banquet at the end. It's like the running industry prom, everybody comes dressed up. I mean, it really was this feeling of industry togetherness, but the brands understanding that they need to basically pay to bring the industry together.
Right.
So it was a great show.
All right, switching here in the last few minutes before we play our great game show, Sweeping the Nation. What's that keyword, Owen?
Okay.
Online e-commerce. We're obviously big into that. I still am a big believer in retail, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But in experiencing and walking into a store, there's nothing like it. But where are we from the outdoor industry, from an e-com? Obviously, Amazon. You guys talk a lot about this. There's, Birkenstock left. They're not back, and now they have every Me Too, every lookalike Birkenstock brand on the century. So again, I could argue that actually Birkenstock needs to be back on Amazon because it's an absolute shit show, and they've devalued their product, their uniqueness, their brand identity, everything else. So, but Patagonia is not really there. And so where are we from an e-com, Amazon, from the outdoor specialty? I mean, I spent years back in the day convincing brands that it was okay to sell on Amazon, but they were worried they're going to lose their REI business. Where are we?
Great question. So from a specialty retail perspective, like if you're a specialty retailer, you would love that a brand is not on Amazon, right?
Right. Yeah.
But Amazon is basically 50% of all e-commerce. And so it's a pretty tough decision to say, we're just not going to participate in that side of e-commerce, in half of e-commerce. And for a lot of consumers, it's where their e-commerce journey starts, right? They're not searching on Google, they're searching on Amazon for whatever this thing is. So, I think most brands have to be there. The question is, how are you going to show up on Amazon, right? And you see it all. you see folks, I think personally, one of the worst things you can do is sell to Amazon, because Amazon hasn't met a MAP policy that they won't break. And so
No.
really, yeah. So that I think is the worst thing that you can do, because they will, you're going to lose all power over your brand at that point, right?
Agree. And they won't, and it's really hard. They're not even looking for people to buy from these days in some regards. But yes, I agree with you 100%. Keep going.
So that's the first thing I would say. The next option is that you control your brand. So you are a third-party seller of your brand on Amazon, and you're the only person on Amazon. I think that is a great way to go, because you control the pricing, you control how you show up, you control your content, you control your brand message. That to me is the way to go. Now, unfortunately, most brands don't know what they're doing on Amazon, and if they're running it themselves, they do a fairly shitty job. But there are some great agencies and other groups that are out there that do a nice job there for you.
That's why Haley and I still have a job.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Anybody needs help, you just call Scott or I. We got it.
All right. So that to me is like the best way to go. The second worst way to go, other than selling to Amazon, is what I call like the free for all, where basically you're like, hey, we're just not controlling this channel, and so you've got everybody in the world selling your shit. You've got resellers out there. You've got people with fake Amazon accounts who are actually selling out of their retail store. You've got every retail that you have that happens to have one of your things is out there, right? And you lose all
distribution control.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You lose all control of your pricing, your message, everything. It's a disaster. What I would say is the much better approach there, if you want to partner with your retailers, especially ones that have a good Amazon presence, is to say, okay, Amazon distribution, is something that is granted, right? It is something that is earned by our very top retailers, our very top dealer partners that know what they're doing on Amazon. There are 4 or 5, at most 10, that are out there, and they're helping to provide more inventory, more coverage for the brand, but it's a limited group of folks, and if they don't do a good job, they're booted off the platform, and we maybe bring on somebody else who knows what they're doing.
And there are some great people, and I'm okay with that. I think that model is okay. If you're small, upcoming, whatever, and you don't have the resources or the money to get an agency, whatever, if you need an exclusive reseller, is what we used to call it, to cut you a PO, obviously it's cash flow too, because they can't handle the cash flow of launching Amazon. It's very expensive. So I'm all in on that. We're all on. We've had many people of those like the
Spreetail models, the GoPro models. Yeah,
and there's some people who do.
I was working with Orva, for example, for a while. I don't know what they do. Yeah.
Orva, and then you have Outdoor Experience. Again, there's some in the outdoor industry. There's a bunch of them that do a really good job. It just depends on what you need and what you want. So I'm with you there. I just again, 100 years ago, I was taught by the rep who first hired me 1,000 years ago, Jansport, before internet. He said, you control supply, you control a channel. And that has stuck with me to this day. Very hard to do. Very hard to do. But boy, if you control the supply, it's remarkable what you can control on the channel.
Absolutely. And if you're willing to make the tough choices, as a retailer, and an online retailer especially, I loved brands that had strong MAP policies, right?
Yeah.
Now, the only thing worse than no MAP policy is a MAP policy that isn't enforced, right? Because in that scenario, then the only people that get hurt are the retailers that are trying to do a good job for you, right? And then it's open season for everybody else, and ultimately you ruin your brand. So, I think you really do need to control that supply, and it has to be unilateral, right? You can't; these things can't be negotiated. But if somebody is not playing ball, you control the supply, and you're like, hey, guess what? Your orders are no longer valid with us.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter how big you are and how big of an inventory issue that may create in the moment. You just got to suck it up and say, sorry, we're not shipping you.
You got to go listen to Outdoor Unfiltered, because he tells you if people are going to get their tariff money back. He tells you why they were going to get it back, why they're not, who's actually going to pay them. He breaks all that down. We're going to go play a little game here to get you out of here, but just remind everybody where they can find you, how they can follow you, subscribe, do it all.
Okay, so I'm on LinkedIn. EOIN is
Yeah,
is how,
that's the key. I was going to mention that. The first name is a little different.
It's the Gaelic spelling. So I grew up in Ireland. So that is how we spell it over there. That's not like some weird spelling. That's almost all
you're
the
right.
Owens.
It's not a weird. It's for a U.S. for dumb Americans.
Yes.
For us Americans, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Owen, I don't know how you spell that now.
So if you think of the E as silent, it makes sense. EOIN. Comerford. So follow me there. I post quite a bit about things that are going on. And then Outdoor Unfiltered. Just search that up in whatever podcasting platform you're on, and we will be there. And every week, Monday mornings, usually we drop an episode to get people ready for their work week with what's going on in the industry.
It's so great. It's such a pleasure. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with What's That Keyword, the game show sweeping the globe.
Hi, I'm Kayla Schwartz, the Director of Consumer Insights and Strategy at Salesforce, and you're listening to Always Off Brand.
Finally, a game show nerdier than an Excel V lookup. It's time for What's That Keyword? Here's your host, Hayley on the news.
Oh, back after a few weeks. I'm so excited because our fabulous guest Eoin stuck around to play one of the best games in the world. Folks, it's called What's That Keyword? And Eoin, you're new here. I'm going to lay down the rules. I'm going to give you a product that is sold on Amazon.com. And you have to guess the keyword or keyword phrase that someone typed in to buy this product. What keyword converted? Might be a little bit out of the box. It might be a little off color. You never know. All right, your first product is a sugar-free Monster energy drink. It's a 12-pack.
A sugar-free. I've got to come up with any keyword.
What did somebody type in to buy it?
Yeah. I'll go first. First.
Great.
Okay.
Up all night.
Ooh.
Low carb hydration.
Wow, you went a little long tail, but nope, You're wrong. All right, I was looking for monsters.
Oh, because the brand.
Quite literally is the second highest search volume term for the sugar-free Monster energy drink. Monsters, plural.
like Monsters Inc.
Monsters. Like, I think of the little fuzzy ones in the
Yes.
TV shows or whatever.
Like
I thought that was
Wazowski. I'm Mike Wazowski. Yes.
That's the number one that converts?
It's the number 2. Yeah.
Number 2
First
that
one is
converts. Okay.
Monster energy drinks.
See, this is why AI and all, answer engine all this is bullshit today, a lot of it, because people still write in keywords, and that's what's so fascinating. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Keyword.
All right.
SEO is it's not dead yet.
Yes.
All right. Now that you've got the hang of it, I'm going to give you a second product.
All right.
Come on, Eoin. It's Friday. Let's get this done.
Okay.
We're looking at a 36-pack of Angel Soft toilet paper.
Oh. Need stuff to wipe my ass. I mean, I don't know. What do you want? I mean...
Eoin?
Angel ass.
No, but I had fun with that. Thank you, guys.
Okay. All right.
I was looking for same-day TP.
Oh.
Which is hilarious, because can't you just see you're sitting on the throne and you're typing in on Amazon, same day TP.
That's good shit right there.
Oh, wow. Yes, right. You literally just pulled the last piece off the roll, and you're like, this is it from... Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Fabulous.
All right. That was fun. Thank you for being such a great sport and playing with us. We'll be right back with the news.
Hi, I'm Bette Bentley, the founder and CEO of Skimpies, and you're listening to Always Off Brand.
Well, that's all been fun and games, but it's that time, the time America has been waiting for. It's time for the news.
Oh, AI, shmai. I feel like it's all we talk about these days, but it's becoming such a relevant part of our daily lives, Scott.
It is. At e-tail, everybody's like, what's the big takeaway at e-tail? I'm like, that all of us in this industry are over it. We're like so exhausted and just like, even though now it's actually being put into work, just a sense of e-tail is just like, everyone's just like, I'm so tired of it. Like
I know. And I loved the unpacking the digital shelf with Lauren Leavitt Gilbert episode a few weeks back. It was like chill the out about AI or
Russ
I forget the exact.
Russ Derringer. I'm at some point I'm going to do a little cover of that episode. I've already gotten permission to do that because we all need a little more Russ Derringer to say, calm the down.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
No, that's Sarah Russoff. That's her daughter. Ava listens to it. So I got
Well, this past week, so we're recording here in the third week of March, 2026. The FTC went after a group of companies for misleading people about their digital assets, basically accusing them of using crypto style language to trick consumers into thinking they were buying something, I don't know, legitimate, valuable, safe, or, real, and they weren't. Because guess what? These digital assets were all AI created. And we've seen these fast fashion brands on Shein or whatever, if we want to kind of put it in our e-commerce bucket of, hey, we're gonna digitally create this image of a t-shirt print because it's trending right now. And, let's print 100,000,000 Taylor Swift t-shirts because she's on concert this week.
Yeah, exactly.
And then people go in, they buy it. But guess what? The product doesn't exist yet, folks. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Is it a real branded Taylor Swift merch item? No, it's some cheap shit that they've printed in some cheap shit factory. All right. So the FTC is really trying to crack down on these fake guaranteed returns, misleading language around ownership, digital goods that, I don't know, disappear or can't be resold. And it really matters because all of these brands, like what did we just talk to Owen about? Like authenticity. How are brands creating this really genuine experience for their customers online? That's hard to do when they can't walk into the store and someone in a green vest walks up to them and says, hello, what size khaki pants do you wear today? And have that one-on-one experience. So this is affecting not only e-commerce, but it's also kind of worked its way into the crypto side quest. And I'm not very good at this whole crypto thing. I still don't quite understand it.
Me either.
Like how it works. But this FTC lawsuit is now on the crypto side and the e-commerce side. So Scott, why does it matter? Why do you think they're going after them?
Well, this is the classic. I don't, the thinking on this is not linear. Like it just doesn't sound logic to me because is this an issue? But we need, and Europe, of course, is leading the way on some type of AI guardrails.
No kidding.
We need some regulation to just make sure that people aren't just getting hosed on this because
they are. They're definitely.
They are. And that's a great story about that I didn't know about because it is so true. Like, you see trends on TikTok, trends on whatever, and then these on demand. It's like on demand gone rogue. Like it's on demand gone crazy.
Yeah.
And then the consumers, right? They're like, oh, I want this t-shirt. And then they're like, oops, you'll get it in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's like, think of it as the earlier influencer marketing days. And once it got big, the FTC stepped in.
And that's fine. I like that the FTC is.
And now they're stepping in on this digital assets. And
I'm fine with that.
I want it to be legitimate. And I'm so happy that they're cracking down on it and it's getting attention. And I'm wondering if I can take out my Scotty O crystal ball here. So help me out. I'm thinking, and this one article that I read on LinkedIn, yep, there it is, folks.
There's the magic 8 ball.
There's a lot of opinions here weighing in on this. And I think that they're going to require some sort of authenticity verification, whether that's like a certificate number or I don't know how they're going to really police it without completely changing how we value and how we produce digital assets. But I think there's some changes coming in the next few years and it'll be interesting to see. But the crackdown's good. It's clearing the path for legitimate authenticity. Wow, I said that word wrong. Authentic products. And it's kind of just weeding out this random crap that people think is real. It's like, I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I'm just glad they finally stepped in.
Once this gets, we're a reactive society and our government is reactive. So as soon as something really, really, really bad happens at enough large volume and scale that somebody loses $1 billion in this, that's finally, they'll be like, oh, oops, we got to actually talk about that.
Yeah.
So this is good. I think this is good. I'm a fan of all of these little, all these little pins, pressing on the cushion, right? We need more and more of this. This thing is just, it's a free for all now.
Yep, exactly. And, on the crypto side of it, again, I'm not super understanding of it, but if you sell digital anything, tokens, credits, t-shirts, whatever it is, this framework is going to crack down on the way e-commerce listeners and consumers instantly get served. So
I like it.
Great.
It's about freaking time.
We'll see. I love it. All right, Scott, that's all I had today. It was so fun. We'll be back with Summer's, freaking favorite part. It's the wrap up, folks.
I'm Melody Vonderbon, co-founder and CEO at Max Retail, and you're listening to Always Off Brand.
The wrap up, as you like to say.
Every time.
Eoin Comerford. I've been listening and reading this guy. It's another classic case of fanboy Scotty O. And I cold call him. He's so smart. Obviously, he was the CEO of a very large organization, Moosejaw. Then again, the Dick's Sporting Goods, the Walmart. Like, this is a senior guy who knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And I just love his perspective of where we are. And obviously, you and I I know I'm pathetic about my my nostalgia of the outdoor industry. So
it was good, Scott. It was good. It was a whole era.
It really was. And it was good. And it still is good for a lot of people. To all my rep friends out there. There's still, the better ones are still there. They're hanging. They're doing great work. And to all the retailers and special retailers, and especially retailers actually come back. Hayley?
Yeah, it has
come back. And I love that.
It only took 6 years after COVID, but they got there.
Anyway, it's great to know them. We'll have to get Colin True on. And the reason we know any of these people is why?
Because people matter.
And you've been listening to Always
Off
Brand. We singing the brand.
I don't know if I can hit it today.
Thanks for listening. Please follow, subscribe on YouTube. We're up. Hey, we almost are at 90 subscribers. I don't want to humble brag. I don't want to flex too much, but you can be that 90th subscriber. How you doing? Huh? How you doing? We'll talk to you later. Toodaloo.
Hey there, this is Hayley from Quickfire, and they want me to read this so you know what this podcast is part of and how to find out more if you want. Always Off Brand is a production of Quickfire LLC and a part of the Learn and Laugh series on the Quickfire Podcast Network. For more information, go to quickfirenow.com. Have a good one, and thanks for listening.